For the last 3 days, we covered 3 different topics, all interrelated. First one was, what is Guru? What is Shiksha Guru? What is Diksha Guru? What is the relationship between Diksha and Shiksha and relationship between the disciple? Also, what was Prabhupada's statement about his towards all of us who are members of the society? What did he say?
I want each and every one of you. I want each and every one of you to become Guru.
Yeah, he said by 1975 we will give awards for those who qualified as known as Bhakti Vedanta. And he said, I want each and every one become a guru. Of course, he didn't specify in what category that would be, but he meant someone who could spread Krishna consciousness to others. And the next lesson was the founder Acharya, the history of founder Acharya, the terminology founder Acharya means that person whose position is unique and he establishes the sampradaya. Srila Prabhupada was actually, he had re-established the Gaudiya mission after it had fallen apart. And so Prabhupada is actually the foundational Acharya for the continuation of the mission of Brahma, Gaudiya, Madhva, Sampradaya. What is the qualification of a founder Acharya? One of the qualifications, there's many.
Pure devotee.
Pure devotee, and he knows
all about.
He knows everything directly and indirectly. And he says, if a person doesn't have that quality, they are not founder Acharya. So he says, I know everything directly and indirectly about our society. Okay. And then, of course, we spoke about the founder acharyas like Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Vishnu Swami. Okay, today is the 4th lesson, and this one's called His Mission Routes. So, where is that? Radha Damodar in which place? In Vrindavan. Okay. Prabhupada is, what is he doing? He's doing 2 things. He's looking outside through that window and he sees what? Rupa Goswami Samadhi. You can see the replica here. And then Prabhupada also looks like he's taking prasad. Yeah, okay, good. So where's this? We need one person with a microphone. Okay. So, who's going to speak?
He's in Calcutta.
You're just saying that because you're from Calcutta. Where is this?
MC Road.
Okay. I know it's in Calcutta, but give a little bit of a understanding of what this is.
This is the Rath Yatra going, the first Rath Yatra Prabhupada started.
Tell us a little bit about it. Who wants to explain a little bit of the history about this?
Prabhupada was very fond of Rath Yatra, and he once demanded from his father to get a Rath, a cart. So the cart was expensive, so his father couldn't manage it. But at the same time, there was an old lady who offered his cart to him, and through that he could organize a small Rath Yatra in his locality. And everybody, he engaged everybody in the service.
The elderly people said, this is not child's play.
Yeah.
This is actually authentic. So that was, yeah, Prabhupada had been brought up worshipping Radha Govinda, and therefore he had developed that attachment for worshipping the Lord, so now he wanted to do something at the age of 5. And so he arranged, him and his friends decorated the cart, and it went on for how many days?
5 days.
5 days, yeah. Not a small ceremony. We don't even do that now. Okay, so, who wants to read?
Srila Prabhupada, one astrologer, sometimes he read my hand. He said in Hindi, Hukum chalega. Your hand speaks that your order will be executed. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Disappearance Day Lecture, 13 December 1973.
That was one of a few prophetic statements that were given about Prabhupada at the time of his birth. What was another one?
This child will cross the oceans and will establish 108 temples by the age of 70.
At the age of 70.
Yes.
When Prabhupada was in New York, he had gotten there and he was sitting alone on a park bench. And one Irani train conductor, he was a young man, and he was a little curious. Who's this person dressed like that? So he sat on the same bench, and then he got inquisitive and he said, well, who are you? Where are you from? Prabhupada said, well, I've come from India, and I've come to teach bhakti yoga. He was explaining a little bit. And then the conversation kept going, then Prabhupada said, and I have 108 temples, but they're separated by time. So this train conductor was thinking, he's a very nice gentleman, but look, now what is he saying? He thought that was like, he's not speaking properly. So later on, of course, this is little known to people in general, but I got a letter from one person who was in jail, and the same train conductor came to one of our temples, was in Seattle, Washington, and he's an old man now. Prabhupada had left. So Prabhupada's deity was in the temple, and he came in, and he went right up to the deity, and he started speaking in a very emotional way. And he was talking loudly, and he was saying, he said he was good, he said he did it, he said he did it, I didn't believe him, and he was just like speaking wildly. And that was the same train conductor. So Krishna arranged for that train conductor to actually get the actual confirmation of what Prabhupada said, yeah. That was one of the prophecies that Prabhupada would go to the West and open at the age of 70. It was also mentioned in that. Okay, so we go on to the next slide. So where's this?
This is Uttadanga Junction.
Uttadanga Junction Road, and Bhakti Siddhanta with a few followers, and our Srila Prabhupada is a young man. Someone read?
I accepted him immediately, Prabhupada later recalled, not officially, but in my heart.
Yeah. So Bhakti, as soon as our Srila Prabhupada came in, he paid his obeisances. The story was that he was walking with his friend Narendranath Mullik, and Narendranath said, I know a very saintly person. He's actually giving a talk this evening, so let's go here. And our Srila Prabhupada said, well, yeah, I know all about these saints, I'm not interested. And then he went, and my father had so many, his father used to be very, what we say, welcoming, and he would welcome these sadhus to come. he would take care of them and even supply what they wanted. Prabhupada said even if they wanted the hookah pipe for smoking hashish, my father would arrange. And devotees were shocked. When devotees were hearing Prabhupada speak about that, they said, how could he do that? Prabhupada said, it's just tradition, whatever the sadhu wants, you just give, So like it was like, okay, it was normal. And devotees couldn't understand that, but Prabhupada said this was natural. Okay. So here,
yes, the seed sprouts. Yes, I shall initiate this form. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, he is very nice, he hears them very patiently, he does not go away. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, Disappearance Day Lecture, Hyderabad, 10th December 1973.
yeah. I jumped a little bit ahead, but there was a discussion between Bhaktisiddhanta and Prabhupada when he first met. After paying his obeisances and he sat up, immediately Bhaktisiddhanta recognized him as a very intelligent person. And he immediately said, you are a very intelligent person. You should take Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission and bring it to the Western countries. And Prabhupada was a little bit taken aback because they didn't even meet formally yet. But then he responded, well, yes, but we are a dependent nation. We are under the British rule, so who will hear our message? And Bhaktisiddhanta replied, well, this political situation, that political situation, this message cannot wait. And it's above all of these political arrangements. So he explained how Lord Chaitanya's mission has nothing to do with whatever is happening on the material level. It's the need of the time. And then Prabhupada said, I was defeated. I was defeated. Now here, we're fast forwarding a little bit, where you picture of Bhaktisiddhanta initiating. Prabhupada had, we'll go on to the next slide, and I'll explain more actually. Can we play that? This is Srila Prabhupada, a young man.
Absolutely sentient thou hast moved. In personal calamity thou hast moved.
So when Bhaktisiddhanta understood Srila Prabhupada's understanding of his statement in a poem that he had written, that this was the essence of his practice or teachings or mission, is destroy the idea that Supreme Personality of Godhead is not a person, or impersonalism. When he made that poem, actually Bhaktisiddhanta said, whatever he writes, publish it. Whatever he writes, publish it. Absolute is sentient, that means a personality, consciousness. Though thou hast proved in personal calamity, thou hast moved. So he's glorifying his spiritual master's preaching for destroying impersonalism. He understood my mission. Is Creeper blessed? Okay. Someone read?
Is Creeper blessed? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta then said directly to Abhay, Amar Iksha Srila Kichu Bhai Karna. I had a desire to print some books. If you ever get money, print books.
So that was, what is this scene here?
Radhakund.
This is in Radhakund. What is the year? Anybody know? This is towards the end of Bhaktisiddhanta's stay. This is in 1935. And the devotees had just been gifted with this beautiful marble building. Before they were living wherever they could and traveling and preaching. Of course they had their simple mats. Now they had this beautiful marble building given by this philanthropist who had a lot of wealth, and he really appreciated what they were preaching. So he donated this building. This was in 1930. But what happened that the devotees who had all of a sudden started to fight amongst each other for the different rooms that were available. And this caused a lot of problems within the moth. And Bhakti Siddhanta, he has this worried look on his face, you can see. He said, and it's coming up, I think, in the next slide. It's not working. Now this is the name. He said, Arun Gwalbe, there's fire in the mat. In other words, there was dissension. Then he said, if I had my way, I would sell all of the marble, and I would use the money to print books. And then he gave a very powerful, which turned into be a very important statement that later became the foundation for Prabhupada's preaching. He said, if you ever get money, print books. Well, Prabhupada took that really as one of his main focuses in his mission, to translate the Vedic literatures and to print books and then also distribute books. So anyone who engages in that activity gets the special mercy of Srila Prabhupada, because that was the mission statement of his spiritual master, which he adopted as one of the main ways for spreading Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada talked about how the communists were very successful in propagating their philosophical teachings, because they printed a lot of books and distributed books everywhere. And the communism spread quickly through literature, through distribution of various types of their philosophy. The Prabhupada saw that we could do the same thing. He said, just like in the wartime, when there is a war, the planes, they rain bombs down upon the enemy. He said we should, this is our mission, to rain down as many books upon the world as possible. So today, I mean, if you go to the calculations, we're at 600 million books have been recorded as being distributed. But actually the number is higher. The number is actually higher because we have many books that were never recorded. Devotees didn't turn in scores. So this is amazing how many books. And you can see many devotees who became devotees actually became by way of Srila Prabhupada's books. And towards the end of this series of talks, we're going to speak about the importance of reading and distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. That'll be one of the later classes. Okay. Any comments, questions so far? Yes, Silpesh?
Guru Maharaj. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he was a pure devotee. Why did the Gaudiya Math in that sense fall apart? Could he not have prevented it? Or?
Well, that's also mentioned in this discussion here. In my notes, it mentions that Bhaktisiddhanta, he didn't appoint any successor. And he said, establish a governing body commission to govern the society. But they didn't do it. So eventually when he left, there were a few prominent preachers who were more or less leaders amongst the devotees started to vie for positions as the head of the math. And there were two prominent ones. One was Kunja Bihari, I think was one. Do you remember Shruti Kirti? The person was Kunja Bihari was one. Yeah, give him a microphone. Okay. Kunja Bihari was one, and there was another one, and both of them kind of divided the devotees, and some went behind one, someone were following the other, and it turned into a battle. Who is going to actually take the position of the leader of the math? But both were off because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, established this governing boarding commission. And Prabhupada saw that with his own society in the Gaudiya math. Therefore, 1970, which is practically just a few years after Prabhupada started preaching, he established the governing body commission. Because he knew that if he left, there would be fights. I want to be the leader, this position, you know, it's... And what happened was, and Prabhupada talks about it in Chaitanya Charitamrita, wherein it turned into a court case. It actually went into courts and stayed in the courts for years. Not only years, but like more than 10 years.
40 years.
40 years, yeah. It stayed in it. And they were just fighting like that. But both of them, as Prabhupada uses the word asara. Sara means useful. Asara means useless. They had become useless in relationship to the mission of their spiritual master because they didn't follow a very principal instruction, which was to establish a governing body commission. But Prabhupada saw that, and then he knew it may also happen when he leaves, so he was very clear on making that GBC before he left. And he also gave it directions on how it should operate also. So yeah, that was a travesty. And therefore, everything divided into little mats. The different sannyasis who were leaders within the society created their own little mats in different places. And that's how their preaching went on, individual. They were more or less kind of, each mat had their own preaching. And sometimes if one person from one mat came to another mat, they weren't allowed to give class. It actually became quite a friction program, not a fighting, infighting. Therefore, Prabhupada left it all and on the instructions of Bhaktisiddhanta came to the West. Okay, so here, his mission confirmed. Who wants to read?
I am a householder. Sometimes I give monetary help. While I cannot give you any direct service, is there any particular service I can do?
Yeah. So Prabhupada wanted to serve, but he said, all I can do, because he was a businessman and a householder. And the reply from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was?
I am fully confident that you can explain in English our thoughts and arguments to our people. This will do much good to yourself as well as your audience.
Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati saw something in him that some of the other God brothers couldn't. Prabhupada also would talk about how many of them, because he gained favor of his spiritual master, they became a little bit envious, you might say. And they also criticized Prabhupada because of his role as a grihasta. And they were all sannyasis. Many of them, anyway. So yeah, but grihe tako, bonidako, sabda hari bolita. It doesn't matter what ashram you're in. You can even become guru. Doesn't matter. Okay. We'll go on to the next slide.
I have every hope that you can turn yourself into a very good English preacher if you serve the mission to
Inculcate. That means to bring about.
Inculcate the noble impression of Lord Chaitanya's teaching in the people. Excerpts from
So the Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati saw something in him. So in one writing, one time, this was put in when can't remember that name. The sannyasi who wrote a 3-volume set on Bhaktisiddhanta, Bhakti Vikash Maharaj, writes one little excerpt. He said, Bhaktisiddhanta was sitting amongst all of his, along with all of it, and our Srila Prabhupada was in the back. And all of a sudden, he turned and looked right at him and just kept his gaze on Srila Prabhupada. He knew this person. When they asked, because they could see that Srila Prabhupada was doing certain things, so, and he was actually helping out, he was giving money, he was, when they would go and preach in his area, he would organize programs, he would lead the kirtan. Prabhupada was very good kirtan leader. So when it came time that one of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's disciples said, why don't we make him temple president? We have one temple, we need a temple president. He said, Bhaktisiddhanta said, never mind. The time will come and he will do everything. He will do everything. And no one could understand that statement. It was kind of like a mystical statement. What did they mean by, what did he say, what he would do everything? But no one could understand, and Bhaktisiddhanta didn't explain either. So. Okay.
In 1944, on Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's appearance day, Abhay launched an English devotional journal, Back to Godhead.
But this was started during the war. When the World War II broke out, our Srila Prabhupada decided to preach, and he also included things that were happening on this political and social level in his beginning of Back to Godhead. So Back to Godhead at that time was 1 or 2 pieces of paper. That's all. Not even 2. Usually one sheet on both sides. And Prabhupada, he would write his article. He was staying in Delhi for one. This was at one point. And he would take what he had typed up to the printer so he could get many copies. And so they would print it, and he would take whatever they gave, and then he would go to the different shops and tea stalls where people congregate, and he would sell it, person to person. He would approach people when they were sitting and taking tea and whatever else they were doing, and he would say, this for 1 or 2 pice. And people, Prabhupada talks about it, he said, and people would always say, we have no time. Swamiji, what you're doing, very nice, but no time. And so at one time, Prabhupada was hearing that from many, so he wrote an article called No Time. People have time for everything, but the most important thing, no time. Think about that one. So, yeah, so that was, because people consider that the material is immediate and the spiritual can happen at any time. But the idea is, or the understanding is, that spiritual life is life, The material life is something that is required in order to maintain the body and soul, but it's not the goal of life. Success in material life doesn't bring you anything but some stability in your activities, but cannot give happiness or satisfaction or progress. And so when Prabhupada heard that, he made it a point to point out the importance of taking to spiritual life now and not later. Okay. Who's that?
Mahatma Gandhi.
Mahatma Gandhi. Mm-hmm. And, okay. Prabhupada wrote him a letter.
I am your unknown friend. You should therefore take a note of warning from your insignificant friend like me. That's unless you retire timely from politics and engage a self-centered person in the preaching work of Bhagavad Gita, which is the real function of Mahatmas. You shall have to meet with such inglorious deaths of Mussolini, Hitler's, Toja's, meet with. Experts from Srila Prabhupada's letter to Mahatma Gandhi.
This was just about a month before Gandhi was assassinated. So Prabhupada could see that he was in a position where he could be killed at any time. Gandhi was known as a politician amongst the saints and the saints among the politicians. But he engaged in a lot of political activity. And Prabhupada wanted to also inspire Gandhi to take up the preaching of the Bhagavad Gita. But Gandhi pretty much didn't even respond to Prabhupada. And he just kept on with his political movements. And ultimately, it says, yeah.
The assassination of Mahatma Gandhi would soon give the first name to Srila Prabhupada's plan to review the Gaudiya mission.
The assassination of Mahatma Gandhi would soon give the first name to Srila Prabhupada's plan to revive the Gaudiya mission. And that's Prabhupada started this program in Jhansi. And he called it, what was that?
League of Devotees.
The League of Devotees, yeah.
16 May 1953.
1950? 53. Okay. So, yeah. So, Prabhupada was the friend of Gandhi, but Gandhi couldn't recognize his friend. Okay. So we did this one a little bit quicker than we've been doing the other ones, because I want to put in number 5 today. Okay, so question.
Recall some early signs of Srila Prabhupada's divine destiny.
Okay. This is just a rehashing of what we just went to. So what was some of the divine signs?
Srila Prabhupada speaking about the astrologer seeing his hand, then his starting the Rath Yatra at the age of 5 years.
Yeah. Okay. Starting that, and also
The third astrology prediction at his birth, which predicted that he would cross the oceans, open 108 temples at the age of 70.
And from the previous lesson, what did we learn?
From 3 predictions about the appearance of Srila Prabhupada.
Which was by
Lord Krishna to Ganga Devi, Lord Chaitanya, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
Brahma Vaivarta Purana explained that Krishna speaking to Ganga, and he said, in 5,000 years, my mantra Upasika, the deliverer of the holy name, will spread the chanting of Hare Krishna throughout the world. So that was even earlier, even before Srila Prabhupada appeared. Okay. Identify the seed of Srila Prabhupada's worldwide mission. Who wants that one?
His meeting with his spiritual master in 1922, where the seeds were planted by Siddhanta Maharaj saying, "You are educated young men, why don't you preach the message of Lord Chaitanya in the Western countries?"
So that was the seed, that the seed was planted.
In 1922 at Fultanalva Junction.
And then there was a little bit of the watering of the seed. When was that? Huh?
He hears me patiently. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that he hears me patiently.
He listens patiently? Yeah, that's true. But the watering was a different situation. It was when Bhaktisiddhanta again met him in 1935.
In Radha.
Yeah.
He said, if you ever get money, print books.
Yeah, so that was the second time. Okay. Recall why Srila Bhaktisiddhanta initiated Abhay Charan Day. What was that statement that made them make him?
Yes, I have noted him. He likes to hear.
He likes to hear. This is the quality of a devotee who is serious about understanding and making progress in Krishna consciousness. They like to hear. They're eager to hear. Out of the 9 processes of bhakti, all of the 8 require the process of shravanam, or hearing. We hear about how to chant, how to worship, how to serve, how to offer prayers, how to organize our life in such a way that we use whatever we have in the service. Everything is based on hearing. So hearing is the fundamental principle by which everything develops in our practice of Krishna consciousness. And hearing is not just being there present with 2 ears. It's much more than that. You have to actually apply your intelligence to try to understand what you're hearing, why you're hearing it. And of course, for clarification, you can always ask questions at the end. But it's called active listening, not just listening. Okay? So, recall 3, not just 1, special blessings Srila Prabhupada received from his Guru Maharaj in 1935. This is the time they met at Radhakund.
Whenever you get money, you bring books.
Okay, print books, right?
And preaching the West, as you can speak English.
Take this mission to the Western countries. What else did he say? That's 2.
He was confident he would spread his thoughts and arguments.
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
The third is a time will come when Sri Prabhupada will do everything.
Yeah, that was a blessing. Yeah, but that had happened earlier, though. Yeah.
In Allahabad.
Yeah, that happened. 3 received from his Guru Maharaj in 19th to again, he gave him the same instruction he had received in 1922 when they first met, to cross the ocean and preach to the English-speaking people, to print and print and then ultimately distribute books. Oh, there's another one, but it came later.
Explain in English our thoughts and arguments. Explain in English our thoughts and arguments.
Explain in English.
You speak so soft, I can't hear.
Explain in English our thoughts and arguments.
Explain in English our thoughts and arguments.
Okay. But the other one was that Bhaktisiddhanta was appearing, of course this was after, so I'll just interject it. He was appearing in his dreams after he had left, and he told him to take sannyas. But that was later. Okay. Recall how Srila Bhaktisiddhanta confirmed Srila Prabhupada's mission in life. Recall how Srila Bhaktisiddhanta confirmed Srila Prabhupada's mission in life.
That one of devotee asked Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur to make him the temple president, and he said the time will come.
Yeah, that he'll do everything. Yeah, so that was the confirmation. Good. Recall what inspired Srila Prabhupada to start Back to Godhead.
His spiritual master's order, if you ever get money, print books and to preach the message of Lord Chaitanya in the English language.
I have to revive my memory on this one. This was wartime. This one I'm not sure of.
The communist magazine, the communist newspaper?
No, that was my analogy, that was all. Okay. Shruti Kirti, do you know why Prabhupada started Back to Godhead? What was the actual?
The first question, I think it was Ram Maharaj, in answer to your first question, the second part, I think that was Ram Maharaj. But the inspiration for Back to Godhead, I'm not sure. The inspiration for Easy Journey, that I know. But Back to Godhead, no, I don't know.
Let's see. I'm going to try and find it here in this discussion section here. In 1944, on Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's appearance, I launched an English devotional journal called Back to Godhead, offering spiritual solutions to material life's endless problems. Back to Godhead saw print only twice that year, owing to the Indian government's severe rationing of supplies, including paper. Abai's message was scarcely noticed, much less value. Even so, at home, at the end, and when the war ended in 1945, Abai saw a good opportunity to expand his pharmaceutical operations in Lucknow, which was 600 miles northwest of Calcutta. With enough profit potential to expand Back to Godhead and better situate his family, Abai made a capital investment. But when the family calls for the best service to come and help, the family would not let him go. Indifferent to Abai's preaching ambitions or even opportunity to improve his own standards, the family now was becoming a burden. Then that goes on. So he was inspired by preaching during the war, which was really, he saw that now he could speak Krishna consciousness in a more direct way because of the calamities of the wartime. And so he started back to Godhead. And basically it says offering solutions to material life's endless problems. Yeah. Okay. That's it for this one. We can go on to the next lesson.